Now normally when I record a video, I'm by myself. But in today's video, I'm joined by my cat because as I've sat down to record, they've decided my lap is the perfect place to sit. Please say hello, Baba. Okay, hello. In today's video, I want to discuss with you a theory that I genuinely believe wholeheartedly. And I believe it actually fills in a lot of the blanks that has to do with Elden Ring's story. More specifically, some reasons why Ranni actually did the horrible actions she did, and how maybe it wasn't her to begin with, and instead Miquella. That sounds outlandish, but I really do believe it, and I ask you to just bear with me until the end of the video, or at least until I explain myself. If you do enjoy the video, and only if you do enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe as it greatly helps the channel. Please sit back, relax, grab some succulent, juicy, tender and sensational prawns if you want, and join me and Star as we delve into Ranni's lore. We first meet Ranni in the Church of Ella, and surprisingly, she turns everyone to sleep around us. Now if she convinced everyone to go beddy-buys, then that'd be okay, that'd be fine. But it's actually how she put them to sleep which is really the interesting point. She uses a purple mist. She then manipulates those around her like Miquella and sends them to beddy-buys. It is not once said inside of Elden Ring, inside of any description, that Ranni is aligned with Miquella. And yet this sort of sleeping mist, which by the way, Saint Trina, who's the other half of Miquella, is known for her sleep. How is she related to Miquella and Saint Trina? Now you could go down the route that they're siblings and they know each other's powers, so hey, maybe they're sharing their little magic touch. But really, among the demigods, we don't see any of them using their siblings' powers. They've all got their own respective thingy-mabobber. I don't believe that is the answer. I believe the true answer is that Ranni is Miquella, and this isn't the only piece of information. When we actually get round to talking to Ranni, or as at this point she tells us, Renna, she tells and gives us a spirit calling bell and some spirit wolf ashes, and she says they were given to her and entrusted to her by Torrent's former master. Now at first glance, given Melina is actually riding Torrent, you might jump to the conclusion, oh god, Melina and Ranni are in league, Melina is the former master. But I don't think this is actually the case. I actually believe still that Miquella is the rider. In the first image for Shadow of the Erdtree, we actually saw Miquella, or what looks like Miquella, upon Torrent riding through the gravesite plain before it was turned into a bunch of grave grass. In my opinion, Miquella being the former master makes far more sense than Melina being the former master. Another point to this is the fact Melina never calls herself the master to Torrent. She never once says that. She simply says, oh, I'm giving you this ring, good luck, I'm going to level you up from now on. You might be wondering now though, how does this all fit into the timeline? Well, it's actually quite simple. By the time we meet Ranni, Miquella has already been in the cocoon for eons. He's already been filled to the brim with accursed blood, and considering his body is the entrance, it seems very likely that Miquella is already in the lands of shadow, and considering they're both thousands of years old, it really makes sense that Ranni would have been able to carry a message from Miquella. Now the question remains though, how did Melina get Torrent? Well, this comes to a part of the theory that I talked about briefly earlier, and that is the fact that Ranni is Miquella and Miquella is Ranni. But how does Melina fit into all of this? She also holds something from Torrent's former master, that being the ring which summons him. The truth that I really believe is quite dark. I actually believe Ranni was the one that gave Melina this ring. I believe that originally she held the ring, and that is how she knows about Torrent, knows about the former master, because she was originally bequeathed that ring before she bequeathed it to Melina. It makes absolutely no sense that Miquella would just go and give Ranni a spirit calling bell and ash summons, and then go to Melina also and give the ring that summons Torrent. It makes no sense to me. Maybe I'm reaching too much there, but I really believe that originally all of this was given to Ranni. But why would Ranni trust Melina with this ring? Why would she trust such an important item to someone such as Melina? Well, I believe it's because Melina, in the state she is in, is very confused. She does not remember her past. She's burnt and bodiless for some reason which we can guess about, but at the end of the day is never explicitly said. Being so confused and so vulnerable would lead open the possibility for manipulation, something Miquella is very well known for. Also, the fact that Ranni is well known, using Melina manipulating her would be a good way of going incognito and making sure no one knew it was her. As she remembers more and more throughout the game, it's really hard to say whether she actually remembers or if she was manipulated at all. But I think the takeaway from this is if she actually was manipulated, this just adds another really tragic detail to Melina's character. There's also the topic of Ranni actually saying Torrent's former master. Now you might be thinking, oh golly gosh Gecko, what the fuck are you on about? Of course Ranni can't be Torrent's former master if she's calling someone else Torrent's former master. But I actually think this is a lot more simple than you might think. We know that people are able to control puppets inside of Elden Ring. For example, Celavus. I actually believe that, you know how you see that little face by the sides of Ranni? What if that face is actually Miquella's and he is inhabiting the body of this doll? By the time we actually meet Ranni, Miquella has already most likely gone and divested all of his flesh. It doesn't seem to be a very new thing inside the Lands of Shadow. It's something that's been going on for quite a while. It's just that we've only just got access to the land. Now, as to why Ranni doesn't describe herself as Miquella and why Ranni might be talking in third person about herself, or himself should I say, I actually believe it might be due to some crazy identity crisis. We know that Miquella has divested himself. We know he's inhabiting this doll's body. And if that is actually the case, he's also living inside the Lands of Shadow. Considering this dual life, it's no wonder that he might be having some identity crisis and not considering himself as himself when he's inside Ranni's doll. Something you might have caught me saying is Miquella divested himself. Who else also divested themselves in a certain Black Knight? Well, none other than Ranni. Her original body was divested on the night of the Black Knives, which she conducted. She was the one that planned it all, or was she? What if Miquella was controlling her at this very time? We know Miquella knows how to do that, the best example being Mohg, who was controlled by Miquella. Why couldn't Ranni be the exact same, being controlled into these actions? Another great reason as to why Miquella would even consider this is maybe he wants to test out to see if it's truly possible to divest thyself of everything you are, just as Ranni tried to do on the night of the Black Knives, doing that weird ass half centipede ritual. This actually fills in the holes for Godwyn's story. Once Shadow of the Erdtree dropped, everybody assumed that the reason Miquella wanted to revive Godwyn was due to the fact he wanted him to be his consort. This was never stated, but given Miquella wanted to revive him, that must be the case, mustn't it? As you might be noticing with the theme of this video, I don't believe that's the case. I think the real reason was because it was proven to have already worked with Godwyn. On the night of the Black Knives, Miquella, aka Ranni, slew Godwyn, destroying Ranni's body and destroying Godwyn's soul. Miquella would know for certain that it would work with Godwyn, and so now it actually makes a lot of sense that he would obsess so much with reviving Godwyn, to the fact he devoted Castle Sol to doing it, devoted a whole legion to follow his orders, with the sole purpose being to revive Godwyn. The exchange for that, the reason why they even chose to do this, was because of the promise to come to Miquella's promised land, the erdtree. If you've watched the channel before, then you'll know I'm really not Ranni's biggest fan. I don't think if she had control of her actions, I think they're vile. But I think considering everything we've talked about inside this video, I think there's a really high possibility she wasn't in control. And to be honest, I prefer this storyline more. Something I'm not particularly sure of is how this relates to her ending. Is this still Miquella's design? Is this still what he wants? Is he still controlling her? Or has Ranni broken free after her two fingers were slew? Considering there's no information regarding this, not even any information that you can draw connections to, It's really up to the interpretation of yourselves, which I am very, very excited to hear. I'm really curious to see what you all think about all of this, not just Ranni's involvement at the end of the game. Sadly everyone, that is the end of the video. If you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like and subscribe as it greatly helps the channel. And if you did enjoy the video, then please let me know, because that tells me you're enjoying the style of content, which then tells me I should make more like this. Anyway, I'm not going to dilly-daddly anymore. Please, don't you dare go hollow, friends, and may you find your worth in the waking world. Goodbye everyone.